let's take a look at our top selections for the... Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Mike Beer, the feature race at Belmont Park on Saturday. Race number 8, the Elusive Quality Stakes, 7/8 of a mile on the turf. We'll get to the analysis in a second, but remember that the Kentucky Derby is right around the corner. DRF has you covered. Get the first look at Kentucky Derby Contender PPs available now exclusively in Kentucky Derby packages only on DRF.com. Here's the field for the Elusive Quality. Chad Brown is represented by 3 horses in this race, including the 6 Front Run the Fed, who is the 2-1 favorite on David Aragona's morning line off a useful performance in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
Yeah, well, I don't have any argument with that horse being the favorite, Dan. All in all, I thought this was a really, really well-matched field, though. I mean, outside of the 8, who I guess is a little bit of a reach, I wouldn't be surprised by anybody in this field.
Not a lot of speed in here, surprisingly enough, for a turf sprint. And as we take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, the 2 Proven Strategies, who has not sprinted since his 3rd lifetime start, is expected to make a clear lead in a situation that would favor horses on or near the early lead. Maybe Casa Creed can sit second. Occasionally, he has shown some early zip. Therapist, I think, is also somewhat adaptable. I'm surprised he's last.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly can see the 2 being on the lead here. How fast he has to go, I guess, remains to be seen. I guess it's certainly possible that he gets loose, though, Dan.
Value Proposition, the number 1, showed some ability for Chad Brown last year, popping a triple-digit Beyer speed figure in his first start off an 11-month layoff. And maybe he had a little bit of an excuse when the beaten favorite in the Grade 3 poker. There just was no pace going on. He was chasing outside, tried to make an early move into the race, and then flattened out. In the Woodbine Mile, I was very surprised that he was so close to the early pace.
Yeah, the Woodbine Mile is really the one race that he's run so far, Dan, where he just didn't really show up. It was hard to find the excuse for him there. They kept him up close, and he just basically came up empty in the stretch. So that was disappointing. Otherwise, he's basically run well in all of his races. He's just one of those horses who it's tough to, have tons of confidence in him, Dan, because when you watch him run, and this goes all the way back to his debut and right up to the poker, he's just a really, really hard horse to ride. He just feels like he doesn't have his head in the game all the time. He's a real handful for his riders, but when his mind is on business, this horse can really run.
Personally, I think this is the kind of horse that needs cover. When he gets uncovered, he gets too eager and he pulls too hard, and he might get that cover breaking from post position 1, being in behind horses. Class relief, obviously. The Woodbine Mile was a strong race. The 6 finisher has come back to earn Beyers of 98 and 101 with 1 Grade 1 placing. Proven Strategies is the number 2, and they tried to stretch him out in the Tampa Bay last time out at a mile and a 16th. He went very fast early. He went way too fast early. So I'm willing to draw a line through that race. The Sunshine Turf 2-back, if you want to say, well, okay, it was a fast pace off the layoff, fine as well. So now he gets a completely different pace scenario, perhaps, Mike, at a price.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you would like about him if you wanted to bet him in this race, Dan. He has really good speed. I mean, he's a fast horse early. This is not an easy field for him to have to face, whether he gets loose on the lead or not. There are some real good horses in here. And I don't know that he's shown that he's necessarily that kind of horse yet, but certainly the shorter distance and a loose lead could make him dangerous in here.
Casa Creed was a graded stakes winner as a 3-year-old, and although he has not won since that National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, he was Grade 1 placed in 2020. Now, he's had 2 starts this year. They've been okay. I don't know. I've kind of done with Casa Creed. He's 3-1 on the morning line, but he might be able to work out a good trip for Bill Mott.
I kind of feel the same way about him, Dan. I know he can get a good trip in this race, and I know that his very best race is going to give him a real chance to win here. I don't know. I just don't know how much I would want to bet him at anything like his morning line price. I would just prefer to bet other horses, but this horse is certainly a contender in here.
He finished directly behind a horse that did come back and rocket to a 108 Beyer speed figure when winning the Californian, albeit on dirt. The number 4 is Therapist, who's been one of the better New York-bred turf horses in recent years, and he actually won the Elusive Quality against open foes in 2019. Now, we haven't seen him since the Turf Sprint Championship, and Mike, I just think 6 furlongs is a little sharp for him, and he didn't get the right trip in that race.
Yeah, you don't want to be too hard on him at all for his most recent race. He actually ran pretty well in there. It's just a little bit too short for him. All in all, and we've seen this horse for many years now, Dan, in New York. This is exactly what Therapist wants to do. He likes the one turn, 7 to 8 furlong races at Belmont Park. This is really his bread and butter. He came off the layoff last year. He won the first defense in a race just like this 2 years ago. It was off the layoff in this race, and he won that day as well. He is a horse who likes to maybe sit and make one run, but this is his game.
Olympic Runner is a very underrated horse for the Cassie barn. Let's watch his effort in the Canadian Turf 2 starts back, where he was far off of the pace and he had a lot of work to do turning into the stretch. That being said, he comes on the outside with a good kick. He came with a big kick to win 3 starts back, and last time out he was just in way too tough against Colonel Liam, and I don't think he liked the wet track.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too hard on him for the last race. That also might be a little far for him too, Dan. I don't know if this horse really wants 9 furlongs. His 2 races prior to the Muniz, I mean, he ran pretty well in both of them. Now, I personally felt like he had the right setups in both of those races. I feel like the pace was really there for him to make those kinds of runs in those races 2 and 3 back, and he may not get that here. But this horse is actually maybe a little underrated, and I can see 7 furlongs being a great distance for him.
First start of the year for the 6, Front Run the Fed, who's one of the faster horses in this race from a Beyer's speed figure standpoint. Chad tried him in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. 5.5 is likely very sharp for this horse. He didn't have the quickest first step. He was in between horses most of the way. He had to avoid some trouble in mid-stretch, and he actually seemed to be running on at the end. 7 furlongs is what he likes, and he has the tactical speed to get a good trip. In many ways, he's the horse to beat.
I agree with all that stuff. He certainly is. And I'll admit, Dan, this is not a horse that I've ever really warmed up to all that much. He's obviously good. I've just never been a huge fan of his, but he just looks good from a lot of different directions in this race, with the distance probably being the main thing. He has good tactical speed, and the 7 furlongs just feels perfect for him. I didn't want to pick him or bet him as the morning line favorite in the race, but he is the horse to beat.
Seismic Wave's lack of early speed could work against him. He just isn't that quick out of there. And turning back to 7, I mean, just look at what happened last year in the first defense in his first race off of the layoff. He fell far behind turning back at this distance, and he actually made a nice rally. There was more pace in that race than there seems to be in this one. At least coming into this race, he has a race this year in the Appleton. Might go better second off the layoff, needs pace help.
Yeah, that's the thing with this horse, is he's going to need the right trip in here, and he may not get the setup that he wants because he just doesn't have any speed at all. I do like this sort of shorter distance for him, though. I feel like he's probably more of a miler kind of a horse. Just had no setup at all in the Appleton last time, so I won't be too hard on him for that race. Man, he ran well in this race last year, and then his second start off the layoff in the poker. I mean, there's an argument to be made that he was best that day, and the trip just didn't work out.
Tell Your Daddy completes the field. He was claimed for $40,000 at the fairgrounds by the very capable Tom Morley barn. This is a big step up in class, however.
Yeah, it just feels like a tough spot. I mean, in some ways, that's the interesting thing about him, because Morley knows what he's doing. And, he knows this race is going to come up tough. And this is where he enters him off the claim and off the layoff. I mean, I guess that's a good sign, but he doesn't have the one race that's going to beat this field.
Top pick time for the Elusive Quality Stakes at Belmont on Saturday. Value proposition, Mike. Maybe with maturity, he'll be a little bit less of a handful, and that might be the key for this horse because he has a lot of ability.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. I just felt like he was going to be an okay price. I do feel like his best race will give him a real chance in here. I also feel like he can get the right trip in this race where he doesn't have to be too far away from the pace. And listen, Dan, he won as a first-time starter, and he fired big layoff last year.
I like Front Run the Fed in here. So do a lot of other people. He's 2-1 on the morning line. I liked his run in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. I think 7 furlongs is a good distance and a good trip is coming, albeit at a depressed price. 6-4-5-3 for me, 1-4-3-7 for Mike in the Elusive Quality at Belmont on Saturday. Good luck.